Okay, let's have a look at this one. So we're looking for a contention. We might be able to get it from the from the title. Why Facebook's Messenger app could be good for digital literacy. We have a bit of a modal word here. So we know that they're pro Facebook, right? But I think there's some nuance to that. Okay, who's the audience? Philippa Collin, or this is not the audience. This is the author. Senior Research Fellow, Institute of Culture and Society, University of Sydney, of Western Sydney. So who's she going to be talking to? Well, she's going to be talking to people that read the conversation, a website that asks academics such as Philippa to write about their area of expertise. So it's most likely an educated audience, right? And it's most likely maybe a bit of a younger audience, but younger to middle-aged at least. Yeah. Perhaps. Actually, it's probably more like my age. So I don't know. 38. I guess that's middle-aged, isn't it? So it's probably more in that direction. Yeah. Because I don't know, how much you guys would be reading the conversation. Maybe you do, but that's what it is. All right, so there's the arguments are easy to figure out, right? This is like an introduction. This is argument one. Argument one. We'll call it 2 for the moment. And she's done headings, right, which is very nice. Facebook is trialling a new app, standalone, aimed at under 13s who can't currently eligible for a normal Facebook account. Headlines have been focused on the downsides, concerns about privacy, well-being. There's another side. Teaching kids about messaging at a young age is essential to preparing them for the hyper-connected world. Okay, so I've got to stop doing this in a room where people walk in. That's okay. So this is the contention here, isn't it? Right? All right. Already happening. They already are connected. Okay. So connecting them early is silly. They already are connected, right? That's argument one. Argument 2 is messaging can be good for kids. Argument 3, bullying and privacy. There's no need to maybe write a few words like I'd normally suggest because they've already written them for you. Okay, good. Let's go through it. Facebook is trialing a new kids messenger app. Okay, so here, the why Facebook messenger. So this is an answer to a question you haven't asked. Okay. Why would we want an answer to a question we haven't asked? Because now that makes you it makes you feel like the question's important, right? And it gives you an answer before you even need to ask the question. Digital literacy, there's connections to curriculum. Right? There's connections to it. It sounds like literacy is something people want. Yeah, it's a positive word. When people think about literacy, it's hard to argue against literacy, right? There's very few people who would be out there saying, "Oh, we should have less literate people," right? Whereas all of a sudden, if we call it digital literacy, it's appropriating the good image that literacy has and applying it to that. It allows us to kind of say, well, digital literacy is a great thing, even if you would think that being a tech addict is bad, right? Okay. She is starting off by highlighting 3 major concerns. Why is she doing that? Well, she's setting up what the argument is for this middle-aged, educated audience, right? She's saying, this is the audience. These are the concerns: data privacy, tech addiction, kid well-being, right? And by framing the argument, that makes it easier for her to take them down, doesn't it? Right? If I say there are 3 major issues with in this particular argument, X, Y, Z, well then I can address X, Y, and Z, can't I? Right? It allows her to frame exactly how that should be discussed, and allows her to exclude anything that won't work very well into her narrative. Okay. At the moment, relatively little research in about toddlers and children's use of digital technology, but so that's an interesting way to start, right? Because there's an implicit, assumption, right, that it's high. Right? There's also the implicit assumption that it's bad, right? But there's relatively little research into it. So she's kind of introducing the idea that although there's very little research, that children are going online earlier and earlier, right? Children are younger than 13, already using social media, right? So who are we talking to here? Once we're talking about issues with kids, we're most likely meaning parents, right? And that's kind of, now we can probably pretty convincingly put a line through this younger. I reckon we're talking about parents. All right, this is probably backed up by the personal anecdote here that this person that Collin has used. Shared photos with my 9-year-old daughter via her dad's Facebook Messenger account, right? Okay, so if you're mentioning your kids, most likely you're talking to people with kids, right? It's very hard if you're trying to create a relationship, when you're talking to a 10-year-old to say, yeah, my kids love it. That doesn't mean much, right? If you talk to someone with kids, this relationship is strong. It relates to parents, right? You notice how I'm not just find a wording, right? Okay, so I've found a personal anecdote. I'm not writing personal anecdote here. I'm writing relates to parents. I'm writing to how it relates to the audience, right? Good way to keep in touch with family. There's a picture of grandparents here, handheld device, and look how close and happy this family is, right? They're sitting on top of each other, talking to grandparents. There's a connectedness there, right? Yeah, and there's happiness. This could be your family too, yeah. Would you be willing to give this up? Have a household with a child younger than 15. Okay, that's us, right? Hey, I have a child younger than 15. This, must be true for us too. 7 enabled devices in our home. So again, this is part of the anecdote, right? And now all of a sudden they're counting the number of enabled devices, and maybe they get to more than 7, right? Don't have a landline. But we don't have a landline. Most people don't nowadays, okay? So again, it's trying to create this connection, between her and her audience. The closer that connection, the closer they can kind of say, hey, I'm like you, the closer it is to kind of saying that, we should have the same opinion as you. Okay, Facebook can be good for kids, interesting innovation, precisely because it promotes learning about and using social media together with kids, right? It sounds like an ad, right? So It uses sophisticated language, innovation. Right? We like innovation. Promotes learning. We want to promote learning. Right? It's making this app seem like an educational, discovery. Right? Togetherness. Right? Again, enhancing this connection with your kids. This app isn't going to drive your kids away from you. It's going to make you, bring you together where you're going to, with this fantastic innovation that promotes learning, all right? So I'm going to leave it there. I want you to continue on, do the rest, look at the techniques, and make some comments below.